guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine here with you for Paper Pumpkin. We've got the May Paper Pumpkin, even though today is technically June. So glad that you're here. I am going to do my thing and make sure that I am where I need to be, doing what I need to do. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic Thursday. I worked from home today, but got so much accomplished. Whoa, that was loud. So yeah, I was very excited. I do work from home on Thursdays, and I very much buckled in. I wanted to take the day off tomorrow and go rummage sailing and spend some time with my husband before he has to go back to work tomorrow night. But so I was like, there's no way I can take off tomorrow if I've got all of these like to-dos looming over my head. So I really buckled in and got it all done, and feeling great about that. Excited for the Paper Pumpkin tonight. I need to acclimate myself. I got here not so early, but about an hour early to prep and get ready, and it's funny how quickly that hour goes. So, but here we are live. I am on. I already saw a couple people on. Tonight I need to watch the comments through the iPad because my phone is dying, and I literally have like an 8-inch cord. I'm not kidding. It is 8 inches long. It is ridiculous. But yeah, so let's see here. I can do this. I've got a delicate system this week. So hello to everyone. Let's see here. Cindy, Susan, another Susan, Randy, hello from all over the board already. Let's see here. We got Southern Virginia, Florida, California, and Southwestern Michigan. So wow, no Wisconsinites yet. Yes, we are from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, in case you didn't know that. That is the beauty of this technology. I love that we are able to diversify ourselves and get to meet new friends. So thank you so much to everyone who is here, and thank you as well for sharing if you have done that already. If not, please do so, and also give this video a thumbs up. We would appreciate it. I'm gonna get some water. Where did I put that? I am like parched already. Oh, here it is. I didn't wear Winnie the Pooh today, but I have Winnie the Pooh. Alright, I'm wearing a rainbow and my work sweater, even though it is 90 degrees here, and the air is on, but it's not like blasting, but I'm just very sensitive to cold. Ooh, pressure's on. Looking forward to an alternative for this kit. So I looked into what we're dealing with. I haven't opened the box yet. I never do. Don't open it before we have our time together. And I've got a couple ideas kind of twinkling around in my brain, so we'll see what kind of lands as I get my hands on the paper. So hello, Sarah from New Jersey and Shelby from Virginia. Hi, Lynn from Utah. I went out to Utah once with Chris and Chris's mom and my mom. We went for convention or conference, whatever it's called, in 2015. So it was the year that I got married. We went out, it was, I think, in the summer, and then I got married in the fall. It was a crazy year, but Utah is so beautiful. I would love to get out there again sometime. Hello, Sherry from Wisconsin. There we go. We've got someone. New Jersey as well. Wow. Coming in strong. So I hope everyone is having a great week, coming off of a holiday, so a short week, and I'm looking forward to even making that week even shorter. I said to myself, is it really worth using a vacation day on a week that's already short? But I decided to do it. We have our city-wide rummage sale in Mount Calvary, which I used to live in Mount Calvary when my husband and I lived with my brother for a while. And I really like Mount Calvary, and we actually have a lot of citywides around here, but I'm very excited. I love rummage sailing. Unfortunately, there's not a ton that I need, or I should say, fortunately, there's not a ton I need, but unfortunately, that means I buy stuff anyways that I don't need. Hi, Karen. Thank you for tuning in. So yeah, I'm excited, though. I'm going to go with my cousin and a friend of ours, so drove past your house today. Yes, I was off. I work from home on Tuesdays and today is Thursday. I typically work from home on Mondays and Thursdays. We have a 3 to 5-year-old, and my husband works third shift at a prison, except for he really works third shift and first shift, like 5, if not 6 days of his work week. So I have kind of a little bit of an issue with childcare because of our schedules. So mom usually watches the kids. And so it's nice. Yes, Mount Calvary is great. I love it. So excited to be heading out there. Again, it's not even like 10 minutes from my house, but heading out there. Yeah, so I am blessed that my mom watches the boys for me. So I've kind of worked out with work that I work from home 2 days a week, sometimes 1 to 2 days a week, so that I can kind of alleviate her need to be watching the boys all the time. Hello, Bonnie. Thank you so much for joining. Happy that you're here. Anyone have anything fun and exciting planned for their weekend besides rummage sailing? Yeah, they are very long hours. So the prison system here in Wisconsin is very short, and the particular prison that he works at is 110 officer or like staff person short, which is 54% of their staff. So lots and lots and lots of overtime, and I don't know how he does it. It's typically he works 16-hour shifts 5 days in a row, and then his last day is just an 8-hour shift. Like I don't even know. So it's difficult, but he is the hardest worker I know, and I appreciate everything that he does for our family, but also to keep everyone safe. So yeah, that's my husband for you. So yeah, all right. Well, my phone has subsequently turned off. Let's see how many people we've got on live and get this party started. Oh, so I'm trying to use my phone differently so that it can stay plugged in, but it's a little wonky. Okay, let's get the comments back, and then we'll jump into the box already because I'm so excited about it. So I can't wait to see what we're gonna make today. Okay, are you ready? It's beautiful. Just kidding. I can't wait to see what the box looks like without the page in front of it. But so what to expect for tonight? We are going to do the paper pumpkin. As always, we're going to do an alternative. And then I have the spreadsheet of people who submitted a card for Mystery Night last week. So I had 2 opportunities to hang out with you guys. So last week we had Mystery Night, and I have a spreadsheet of everyone who shared their cards. So at the end we will also be doing a drawing. And remind me, I need to do a door prize winner for our paper pumpkin as well. Chris emailed me the spreadsheet. I'm gonna need to remember where I have that, but we're gonna be doing a couple giveaways tonight, so that's exciting. This box is gorgeous. The back's blue. Very beautiful artwork on it. I can tell that most of these colors are the new in colors. So let me see. I don't have anything nearby. Oh, I have the catalog. Ooh, and exploring in color cards and envelopes. So there must be an add-on of cards and envelopes. So if anyone knows anything more about this, I was here early. I should have looked into it. I completely forgot. But yeah, I think the add-on kit can be used in conjunction with this. I can tell that there's matching artwork, and the beautiful in colors are here. And that's what I was going to look at in the catalog. So we have brand new in colors, and that is kind of what this set is based off of. And you'll see, so copper clay is this orangish, brownish color. We've got wild wheat, so all of the yellow is tones of the wild wheat. Boho blue, so That's the color of the whole box here. Boho Blue was a sneak early on. We had a Boho Blue mini cut and emboss machine that came with the starter kit, so that was kind of it was kind of a preview early on. So there's Boho Blue, pop of pink down here in the Moody Mauve, and then the Mountain Range is tones of that pebbled path. So really great highlight for our in colors on the box, and I'm sure within the kit too. Hi Tyra, thank you so much for joining. You're in Hutchinson, that's Kansas, I think. I used to be good at geography, but not at all. Weather is beautiful, so glad to hear it. We are in our beautiful weather phase as well, except for here in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, we're tending a little hot and sticky, but glad to have the hot weather because we had such a crazy spring where we had such cold and even snow. So meh. Happy to have the nice warm weather. Tyra, if this is your first time watching Cards by Christine ever, I just wanted to let you know, hello, welcome. I am Kelly. I am Chris's cousin. 90% of the time you will have Chris on as your hostess. But once a month I do get the opportunity to take the reins for Paper Pumpkin, and sometimes I sub in for her as well. She was on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip, so that she can enjoy that, and I'll be here to help. So, so glad that you joined us, and I hope you have a wonderful time. So let's crack this bad boy open and see what we've got. So we have a preview. Oh, look at that beautiful card. Exploring in Color add-on. Hey, look, that's the information I need. So here this is. Extend your colorful crafting adventures with the Exploring in Color cards and envelope add-on product from the annual catalog. So this is in the annual catalog, which is great. It looks like it might be a set of 6 times 3 is maybe 18. There are 18 card bases and envelopes here, so that's awesome. And it's really cool that you get all of this graphic imagery to go with that. Oh, and then we always need to flip this over. So here is a preview of next month's kit. You have Kansas, I got it. Welcome in is the theme for next month's kit. You have until the 10th of the month to sign up for this if you haven't yet. So here's a preview of the Welcome In Paper Pumpkin kit. It does coordinate with the Countryside Inn Suite collection that is in the catalog. So it said, be sure to check out the add-on, which is, I saw that over here. We have Welcome In Dies, and it says, be sure to check the add-on while supplies last. So I unfortunately do not know. I am a demonstrator. I'm not super active in like the demonstrator website. So I would have access to knowing if this is in stock or out of stock, except for I didn't check. So my apologies there. But this will coordinate with the upcoming Welcome In Paper Pumpkin kit, which is really cool. I love when they do that. But I do know that when they have special things like this, they oftentimes do run out of stock. So if that is something that you know you're going to be getting the kit, you may want to check this out if they are still available. And grab them before they're gone. Okay, so that's all of that jazz. Look at this beautiful boho blue tissue paper. I love it. Okay, so we've got copper clay, and then here are the stamps. Very cool. We've got a compass, a campfire mug, and a hiking boot. And then our sentiments. Wow, I just had a major brain fart. Our happy birthday. Cheers to another adventure. Life is meant for good friends and great adventures, and it doesn't matter where you're going, it's who you have beside you. So cool. I love these sentiments. Okay, so now let's crack the box open and see what we've got. Our color this month is Copper Clay, which is great. I love collecting the in colors. Because I typically don't buy the like full-size stamp pad of the in colors. I don't know why. I think I'm just sad that they retire. That's the word. Hello, Hildy. Thank you so much for joining. So I've never actually purchased the stamp pads for the in colors, but I have always made myself Stampin' Spots. So I'll collect the Stampin' Spots that come in Paper Pumpkin, and then the ones that don't, I always make a Stampin' Spot because they sell the blank or like the empty colorless spots in the catalog. Okay, let's crack this open and see what we've got going on this month. I'm a little off my game without having this how I normally do, so my apologies this week. Okay, so we've got some twine, and then we've got some dimensionals, which is great. I love dimensionals. Got a little carried away with my, there we go, that's better. Okay, so beautiful envelopes. Wow, I love this detail on just the bottom of the envelope. That is so beautiful. Here we've got mountain ranges and rolling hills. Wow, these are so, so pretty. Thank you so much, Karen. She checked, and the dies for the June Paper Pumpkin kit are still available. Obviously, Stampin' Up! Does their best to have the appropriate inventory for the demand, but it is very hard to know how popular something is going to be. I just remember we had, where did I even put them? We had an add-on die set like this for a kit probably 6 months ago, is my guess. They were for little froggies, and they went out of stock very early on, and it was a big uproar because there were a lot of disappointed people. So that is just my suggestion, is that if you want it, go for it before they're gone, because I don't want any sad stampers. Okay, so here are our card bases, and man, these are a stunner. Ooh, okay, before we get to that, there was a free add-on, well, not add-on, a freebie included with every kit, and it is this cute little sticker sheet. So we've got a Paper Pumpkin sticker, we've got our hiking boot with flowers growing out of it, so cute. Explore with a boat paddle, and enjoy the outdoors. So cool, I love this one the best. Love it. So that is our little freebie. I'm gonna put that off to the side. And then here are our card bases. So this is scored so that you can fold and burnish, but you have beautiful artwork on both sides, which is amazing. The next one is a mountain range with a canoe. And then our third card, okay, so there's stuff in between them. Ooh, our third card is this mountain scene with the flowering hills. Oh my goodness, so pretty. Okay. We've got some sheets of sentiment strips. We've got some, oh great, Moody Mauve. I was like, I'm not up to speed on exactly what these colors are yet. So we've got Moody Mauve here, a couple banners. We've got some binoculars and a compass, as well as some glue dots. And of course our instructions. I always like to start on the back of our instructions. We've got our coordinating colors, which this time are going to be pretty simple. We've got Boho Blue, Copper Clay, Daffodil Delight, Moody Mauve, Mossy Meadow, Pebbled Path, and Wild Wheat. So basically all the in colors and just a couple additionals. Also, we've got a preview of some alternatives on the back here. Some really cool options that you can do. I see this one's using an envelope, which I tend to do often, and after seeing the envelopes, I do have some more ideas kind of percolating, so very excited. Okay, so let's open it up. Here's a preview of what the finished cards for the kit are gonna look like. Very cool. I love that the artistry of the DSP, that's basically the card bases, are on full display. So I think these are going to be pretty simple cards. However, even though they're simple, that doesn't mean they're not stunning. So Whew, here we go. Now, let me take a quick jaunt and see if I can find, I usually use my own stamp pads because I like to, A, hold on to this for a different purpose, and B, these Stampin' Spots are woven stamp pads, and I love the, hello Elaine, the Stampin' Up! Classic pads are foam pads. So they're a little bit different. However, both of them work perfectly fine. If you don't have access to the full-size stamp pad, you're more than welcome to use what comes with it. That is why it comes with it. But it is your preference if you have the ability to use your own. So I'm going to see if I can find mine real quick. Okay, so we're going to use the Stampin' Spot this month because I just found the stack of the in colors, and ironically it was 4 of the 5 and the copper clay, wasn't there. So I'm sure if I spent a little more time looking for it, I could find it, but I don't want to waste your time. Hello, Shirley from North Dakota. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are just about to kick off with the first card. Okay, so we are using this banner with the singular banner edge that has the boho blue stripes. When I start, I like to punch out all of my die cut images first. And if there are multiple sheets, Chris taught me a long time ago that if you kind of align the sheets, you can punch them together, which saves a little bit of time. Just a little bit. Chris is the absolute queen of efficiency. I don't know how she does it. She is a wonder to watch at work. Oh, man. And, like, her mental clarity is incredible. I am quite a bit cloudy due to the kids, but just her recall and her ability to like connect things, man, it is amazing. Okay, so here we have all of the banner pieces. Now I'm going to punch out all of these pieces as well. Get our embellishments in order. So who is crafting along with me tonight, and who is a Paper Pumpkin subscriber who maybe just is here for the show and will do their kit later? I'd love to know who we've got out in the audience tonight. Okay, a couple more. I really like using this Moody Mauve color as the accent color. I think that is going to be really pretty with these very scenic scenes. Ooh, okay, so let's get, I really like this piece. I saw it on the card. I really like how that one is placed on the card behind the sentiment. So can't wait to do that one. That is not the first card, however, so we'll get to that in just a little bit. Okay. I always get very disorganized as we go from card to card on Paper Pumpkin night, so I'm going to try to stay on top of the mess this time. Oh yeah, look at there, my phone is like largely in the way. That's okay. It's not even on. Okay, so there are all of our die cut pieces. Perfect. Dawn and Susan are both crafting along tonight. Okay, so let's get our happy birthday stamp. I also brought in, oh, sorry you're sick, Kathleen. I hope my my show is entertainment enough for you. So here is our paper pumpkin block. This comes with your kit the first time that you subscribe. It is a little thinner and it doesn't have the rounded edges, whereas this is the D block that is available in the catalog. So you'll notice it is a little thicker and the edges are rounded off, but absolutely either one works perfectly fine. I do like to opt to use my my D block from the catalog just because of the little bit of the more ergonomic design to it. But again, if you don't have it, that is totally fine. You do get exactly what you need the first time that you subscribe, and that is the beauty of Paper Pumpkin. It is fully inclusive for either a beginner crafter, oh here we go, really struggling, either a beginner crafter or a crafter who maybe is more of a hobbyist who doesn't want or need all of the supplies. Wow, I am really making a mess of this, and I knew that was going to happen. Maybe this is another reason why I like to use the classic Stampin' Pads. There we go. We made it. Hello, Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining. Just trying to get into my stamp pad here. Oh, boy. Okay, so I just want to get that off the side so that I don't get that onto my stamp. Okay, so here we go. We need the happy birthday, and we are stamping happy birthday onto the blue, well, the white banner with the blue stripes. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my foam mat just because it's a beautiful work surface, but it does have a slight texture to it, so I want to have a nice flat surface. And then I do like to try to stamp some of the stickiness off because this is a brand new photopolymer stamp, so you might hear that. Kind of hear that clicky stickiness. So I always like to, on a blank sheet of paper or on the back, kind of stamp some of that stickiness off. I personally tend to think that it stamps a little better when you've done that. The ink seems to stick to the stamp better for the first time. And then because this is a small Stampin' Spot, I like to stamp my pad onto my stamp because otherwise you get a lot more rocking and are more prone to getting ink on places that it doesn't belong and or on the block. So that's my thought on our Stampin' Spots. It appears as though you want to put your sentiment off to the right side of the banner so that you have room on the left side of the banner for our embellishment of the binoculars. Pro tip, always close your ink pad, otherwise you will have the opportunity for your adventure to end in heartbreak. I'm gonna bring in my, ooh, they are both dried out. So just give me a second. I'm going to refresh my Stampin' Chamois. In my opinion, the Stampin' Chamois is a must-have. Makes cleaning your stamps so easy, and they're very affordable. I'm going to do both of them while I'm at it. But those buggers take a lot of water to rehydrate, to kind of loosen it back up. So, and Chris has been gone for so long, they've been out of use. So, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to continue to let that hydrate, and sorry, I'm sure you can hear the running water in the background, so my apologies. Okay, so we did our stamping, and then we are going to get 12 inches of twine, so convenient ruler on the side. So let's open that up and get the twine and our ribbon scissors. So where does this start? Oh, it's always, oh, got it. Okay, so 12 inches is roughly here. Wow, they still are not completely hydrated. That one's pretty close. Okay. All right, so then we are going to, so we show glue dots behind the pink banner. I do prefer to use my own adhesive. I'm not a huge glue dots fan, so I'm going to bring in my liquid glue. It is your personal preference. You can use the glue dots, especially because the glue dots are what come in the kit. There is definitely nothing wrong with using glue dots. But I am going to bring in my liquid glue. Also, we are working on the card base with the yellow grasses and the tent. Okay, so just gonna let that soak now, but now I have enough water. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm gonna preclude to what one of my alternatives, well, I think I'm only doing one alternative, but what my alternative is going to look like. This card base is so beautiful, but I personally view it wasteful to have this beautiful imagery on both sides. And I am a maximizer, so I like not to waste things. So I'm going to cut this down already because I'm then going to use this panel as a card front for a future card. So normally I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't alter the card from the kit. But because I kind of have a vision of being able to double this kit, I'm going to do that. Because honestly, so they're two different pieces of imagery. So we won't have the tent on this side, but you could easily duplicate this card. This is just Moody Mauve. Now, of course, this is printed Moody Mauve, but you totally can cut a banner out of Moody Mauve cardstock or whatever cardstock you have. Obviously, this stamp is included in the kit. You can stamp and stamp and stamp and stamp. You could use just a piece of basic white and either draw in blue strips or go without the strips. And then, of course, you won't have an extra of the binoculars, but you could stamp any one of these other images and basically have a duplicate card and make twice as many cards right off the bat. So, like I said, I don't normally do this, but in this case, I'm not going to waste the half of each of these 3 cards, so waste the quote-unquote potential to have made 9 additional free cards and go ahead and snip this in half. So for those of you crafting along, that's kind of why I'm doing it right off the bat, is I don't want you to have done all 3 of the cards and then have regrets coming back and wishing that you would have had this to do for something else. Okay, so now I want to see, I'm not positive if we have the new ink colors down here yet. And they aren't. So I'm going to make a card front right now. I hate card fronts because then they sit here and don't get used. But I'm going to make a, let's see here. I'll probably do a boho blue or evening evergreen. I love evening evergreen so much. But is that one of the ones that retired? Again, my sincere apologies that I am not as abreast to this as a lot of other demonstrators are. I won't use Evening Evergreen if that is one of the ones that retired. Pretty Peacock would be very pretty. I'm trying to maybe pull into this darker green. So Evening Evergreen is gone. Pretty Peacock would work, or I know they said Mossy Meadow was maybe one of the colors. So I will for sure go with boho blue just because there is so much of that in there. Otherwise I could do one of the yellows, but I'll probably do boho blue. But anyways, for that reason, I'm doing a card front. And so the next step is adhering on the banner. And I will tell you, if you can't quite tell from the graphic imagery in front of you, that is kind of cocked at an angle. So we're gonna put it here-ish, and then we are going to angle it uphill, and then we are going to put down a glue dot. Now here I will use a glue dot, absolutely, because when working with ribbon, glue dots are kind of the adhesive of choice. So we're gonna throw a glue dot down in the middle of the banner, and then we're gonna make what some people call a rat's nest, but basically just a round circle of this twine, which is going to go, well, this isn't quite a rat's nest. I spoke too soon. Oh, so it looks like it starts up by the bison. I'm gonna stick it down to the glue dot. I'm gonna make my first loop and stick her down again. And then garden green might work. You're absolutely correct. Mossy meadow would be a good one too. So yeah, actually I do think, you know, obviously you're either gonna pull from the blue in the sky or the green actually might be a more neutral choice because there's green high and low. So I do think you guys are all absolutely correct in saying that we probably should go with a green tone, which I will have access to because those are returning colors. So let's see what we've got. Garden green. Ooh, that is that's not the right size scrap, and that's okay. Mossy meadow. JKM Mossy. So I think I'm gonna go with Mossy Meadow. Both are great options though, so either whichever you have or whichever you prefer. And we'll go ahead and make a card base here. And I am actually going to make this a top open card. I really, really like those kinds of cards. And I don't do them often. So that's why I'm gonna do that. So for that, I'm gonna bring in my straight cutter. I'm going to cut on the short edge at 4 1/4, and then I'm going to score on the long edge. Oh, I miss Evening Evergreen. It was one of those ones that when I saw it, and I'm kind of starting to have flashbacks of this now that I had talked about it, I was so sad to see leave, so I'm surprised it didn't stick with me. Hi, Renee. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Okay, so there's going to be our card base, a little diversion from the normal kit. All right, remember when I said I was going to try not to make a mess? I'm already making a big mess. Okay, so we are going to bring in our bone folder and fold on our cardstock. Mossy Meadow, you are going to want to mat on the inside. It's quite dark, so it would not be necessarily appropriate for writing on. I think I'm going to keep this as a edge-to-edge full kind of bleed card instead of matting it, because I really like the simplicity of the imagery going straight off the edges. So in completing this little hijack of the kit, I'm going to go ahead and glue this straight on the card base. Okay. Then we will come back to where we were at. Okay. All right, so we've got it all stamped, and then we are just gonna put dimensionals behind happy birthday and a dimensional behind the binoculars. So super simple. One thing that I really love about Paper Pumpkin is how easy it is. So they even give you an example of where to put the adhesives. I'm going to, again, kind of overrule a little bit because we have the creative liberties to do so. So I'm going to use 3 dimensionals because I think that will be more secure in holding it down. But 2 is their suggestion. Well, that didn't go back in place. And again, I'm just using the supplies that I have because I already have some dimensional sheets that are started to be used, but go ahead and use what comes in the kit. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, I'm gonna bring in my Take Your Pick tool because if you can't tell, my nails are pretty long and I would struggle with that sometimes. I just need to cut them. I just never think of it. Okay, then we're also gonna throw a dimensional behind the binoculars, and then we are gonna start assembling. Okay, so now this sentiment is straight because the pink that we laid down was crooked. And then I'm kind of just gonna, let's see here. I'm probably going to align the top left corners here. So they're gonna be kind of touching, and then it's just going to run parallel to the bottom. And while doing that, I'm also going to try to manipulate the twine so that it's sticking out and kind of where I want it. Like there's no place that like it truly belongs or doesn't belong, but that's kind of what I'm manipulating here, and then the top is just great. Okay, so that's that. I probably would have, if I would have been a little more foresightful, I would have probably adhered the pink label up a little higher, or alternatively, I could have moved this and covered up a little bit more of the pink. It does look as though we're heavy on the bottom, but that's stuck down pretty good, so I'm not even gonna try to move it. Then I put the binoculars on, and in doing so, I tried to cover the corners here so that there's not a weird corner like just poking out somewhere. So that was the thought behind that. And here we have a completed card. Very pretty, very simple, but the basically like watercolor or painterly images of that card base really speak for themselves. This is more of a masculine card. However, feel free to bring in some Stella if you so choose. And also if you have a supply of embellishments, no embellishments this time, so would be great to bring in some embellishments to kind of dress this up just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna grab my chamois then. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so they are rehydrated, and one of them was oozing some greenish color, so must have been a lot of green ink in it. All right, get these back in the cases, and then I'll clean up my stamp that I didn't clean up earlier. It is a cute card, and I love how effortless it is. Sometimes we need those quick, easy, but still beautiful cards, and they are still handmade, so you didn't lose anything in it being simple. Okay, so I'm going to put my stamp back and then get the next one out right away. Okay, next card is going to be the Mountain and Canoe card, which is at the bottom of the pile. I lie, it was kind of at the bottom. Okay, now, this card is, again, I'm going to hijack just a smidge and cut in half right off the top. And I'm going to as well, I'm going to choose to put this one on a boho blue this time for sure, because of the water, but I don't have boho blue around. We're still kind of mitigating our supplies and getting them where they belong. And with Chris having been gone, some of the supplies aren't quite in their homes yet. So I don't have boho blue at a quick grab, so for this one, for real this time, I'm going to be using just the card base. Where did I put mine? Here's my mat. Okay, so now we need the more square like with the wild wheat border. This time we are using Life is Meant for Good Friends and Great Adventures, which is beautiful. And I'll get this on our block. I'm gonna remember to do the little de-sticking. Piece of paper. This would be much more appropriate on a scrap piece of paper, but that was my way around that. Okay, copper clay. Going to stamp up. Okay. Hello, Gwen. Thank you so much for joining us. We are just starting on card number 2. Okay, let's get out our chamois. Get that cleaned up. Okay, so this time we are using 20 inches of twine. So we'll get that next. Okay, 20 inches. Woo, she's curly. With 2 additional inches, gets you to here. Okay. All right, so now we're getting that beautiful Moody Mauve diagonal piece that I was loving up on. We are shown 4 dimensionals. I might end up putting another one or so on later. We'll see. Ooh, well that landed right where it needed to. And then to help assist in creating this ribbon and bow that we have going on, I'm gonna throw down a glue dot just to have something for the twine to anchor to. So I'm gonna put that right here. And then I think I'm going to find the middle of this about. You guys are gonna get to watch me struggle with a bow, because the other way you could do this is wrapping the ribbon or like the twine around twice and then doing a bow on a bow maker and sticking the bow on the bow maker on with a glue dot individually. That would be substantially easier. But where's your sense of adventure? So I feel like I might be wrapping this around one too many times, which only matters in the fact that then we might be short on our bow. So I think I was supposed to start with the glue dot on the front, and then, or I should say the midpoint on the front, and then take it around and bring it back to the front. That would have given us two bands and a bow. Right now I'm gonna have 3 bands and a bow, which should be fine. I'm thinking I have enough. I'm gonna bring in my reverse tweezers to hold this, which will help me make a tighter tie, help me with my long fingernails, because it's really hard to tie bows with long fingernails. Bow maker would make that a lot easier too, but I think we'll be okay. If not, I will start over. That is not out of the question, because it's just held on by a glue dot on the back, so that would not be like exceedingly difficult to undo. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of keep it loose and then draw it back so that I can lose some of this midpoint. Okay, now we have incredibly uneven tails. So now I just need to get it tied. And then double knot, I think, would be helpful. Pressure is on with this bow. I should have looked ahead to see if there were bows and cut my fingernails. Sorry. Okay. Woohoo! We did it! Okay, now I'm just gonna release the tweezers and try to manipulate the bow so it doesn't look so flat. Just kind of poke that around. Oh, lordy dordy. Okay, so like I said, we've got a triple band because I started the midway point on the back. So if you only want a double band and or a little bit more space to be working with your bow, you can start it on the front and loop it around, which will then get you 2 bands and a bow. But we did it, it worked out. I'm trying to bring it up just a little bit, not super necessary, but it did. We're gonna be putting the sentiment down here, so I don't wanna push that down too far. And then I also am going to bring one more glue dot in with the take your pick tool so that our bow doesn't shimmy around. So let's get this under here. And then now I'm gonna stick my bow knot as well as the bands beneath it to that so that they all look like they're coming from the same place. Okay. That was the hardest part of the kit so far. All right, then we are going to pull the glue dots off. Excuse me, pull the dimensionals off. We are going to stick this bad boy onto here. We're gonna be in the upper right-hand quadrant. Looks like about 3/8 of an inch from the top and about maybe 3/4, not quite, of an inch from the right. That, or you could put it all the way up to the top like a bookmark, and honestly, I think that's what, well, I'm gonna keep it like the kit because that's how the kit has it, but I could see elevating this to the top of the card too. I am going to trim the tails, but not quite yet because I want to see how it looks with the sentiment before I do so. Glue dots on here, or I'm going to elect to do my liquid glue. I'm going to keep it towards the middle because we will have some overhang here. Okay, so we're gonna have just about 1/8 of an inch on the bottom. Again, could have been rectified if we would have moved that whole ribbon brigade up a little bit. However, I would do that before the glue dimensionals, because the dimensionals are what really was holding that from moving up any higher. So that's my little ditty on that. And now I'm just gonna bring in my ribbon scissors and I'm gonna trim these just a smidge. Not super short, I do like longer tails when we're dealing with twine, but these are just a smidge unruly. All right, so there we have it. This is card number 2. Same goes, you could absolutely put a little bit of Stella, and I think I will, just a tiny bit of Stella on the water here, I think would be very pretty. And then again, I could absolutely see bringing in some type of embellishments just to dress it up a little bit, but even the Stella here helps measurably. So yeah, Yeah, just catching a little bit of that, and I think that's a natural place for it because the water always has some type of glimmer to it. Beautiful! I would put this on a boho blue, and again, I think I would do a vertical open card. I like that, and the imagery seems to lend vertical to me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a normal card base, but that is what I would do for this one. All right, we are on to our third and final card before we move on to our alternative. So here we have the Rolling Hills, and just like the cards that came before it, I am going to slice and dice this in half. So this is just getting cut on the score line, which is at 4 1/4. Now, this card I would more naturally do as a normal, I guess, is there such a thing as a normal, but as a traditional open. So I'm going to bring in a piece of Mossy Meadow. This one, of course, is more kind of in line with the colors of the first card. So we are going to cut at 5 1/2 and score at 4 1/4. Here's our card base. That one is cute too. I agree, Cindy. I am so in love with the simple beauty of these cards. I would be interested to see what kind of card or alternative Chris and Tyler would make on this, because this is right up their alley. I am not an outdoorsy person, but I'm not especially an outdoorsy person. Okay, so let's go ahead. The card is using this card base. Again, I'm going to straight away glue it. I'm not going to cut it down to a mat because I do think that would a little bit interfere with the intention and the intentional design of the card. I'm trying to get away with this, basically. I'm not trying to overrule some of the design decisions that went into them designing this paper pumpkin, if that makes any sense. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy. That is why I love liquid glue, because it does give you that moment of movability, but also sometimes that is a drawback. Okay, so here we have that card base. I see that my card base is just a smidge larger than the graphic that I have, so I'm going to bring in my glue scissors and just so lightly trim to just get that small little overhang off. Barely noticeable, so wouldn't be the biggest deal, but gonna take care of it anyways. All right, so there's that. Okay, we have, it doesn't matter where you're going, it's who you have beside you. That is going to go on the horizontal banner, which is under my glue dots. Okay. Bah! I'm just moving one thing to the next, trying to avoid chaos. Inevitably, it's only kind of working. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp, oopsies, stamp the stickiness off of this one. Okay, this one is pretty perfectly centered in the banner. We are going to be putting a compass on the upper left-hand corner. However, it does not affect the centering of our stamping. Okay, go ahead and stamp that down. Beautiful. Quickly going to clean off my stamp. Where did I put my chamois? show you guys. Stamping is a hobby that is bound to make a mess. Okay. Let's move our stamps out of the way. Rehydration break. Okay. This time we're using just the Moody Mauve strip. It is going to be adhered down via glue dots, or in my case, I'm going to choose liquid glue. We've got it in the upper third of the card, kind of covering up this first little light point, basically in line with the top mountain peak, centered left to right. Okay, then we are going to cut 14 inches. Oh boy, that is not centered left to right. Let's go ahead and reevaluate that. Okay, 14 inches of twine, which is hiding up here. This one is the rat's nest. Okay. So how I like to achieve a rat's nest is I kind of just hold it between my pointer and my thumb, and I wrap it around my 4 fingers loosely, and then I kind of hold that and go from there. Here we are seeing that it is going on and around the backside here, and we've got dimensionals that are going to be holding it in place. Basically, if I stick the dimensionals down and then put the rat's nest on top of it, the twine is going to be on the layer of the card base and then separated from the sentiment. That is absolutely okay, but it is not exactly how I want the twine to be on this piece, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start by putting down glue dots. Glue dots are my adhesive of choice when it comes to any type of ribbon. And then I'm going to stick down my ribbon, and then I'm going to put down my dimensionals. So you can opt to have your tails hanging out or to hide your tails or tuck your tails. So I'm going to tuck my tails so that it kind of just looks like a continuous circle of twine. Tails hanging out is absolutely fine. It is totally your discretion. And then I'm kind of just going to discreetly layer things, and then I do like to secure this with some tear and tape. So I'm going to bring out my tear and tape, and if this is not a supply that you have, that is totally okay. You could absolutely use Scotch tape to secure this down as well, or you can just let it free hang. That is not a big deal. So once I have things where I like it, I'm going to kind of, because this twine is especially curly due to being on that spool, I'm going to kind of hold it down and then put the tear and tape on so that things stay where I want them to stay. And of course I got it just a hair too long, so I'm going to tear that extra off. And now I'm not going to, okay, great. I'm struggling a little. I am not going to tear the waxy paper off the back because that's just going to kind of hold it where I want it to. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to bring in my dimensionals and now put the dimensionals on the back. So that is how I am choosing to do this. You can do it absolutely however you prefer, but that is going to be my order of operations for getting this piece all put together. Hi Marlene, thank you for joining. Not a problem that you're late. You can always catch the replay if you want, or happy that you're joining in now. Okay, so grabbing the backs off of these dimensionals, and agreed, Elaine, these are very beautiful cards. I'm so happy with this kit. All right, so now we are going to center this vertically and horizontally on our Moody Mauve. And then last but certainly not least, we are going to add our compass, which also is adhered via dimensionals. So, super simple cards. And now we're going to be putting our compass on in the upper left hand corner. I'm going to show you something quick though. So my dimensional was half hanging on and off. So half of it hit the layer of our sentiment, which is already on a dimensional, and the other half hit the back, which is not on the same plane, so to speak. So I'm going to pop this up and I'm going to throw an additional dimensional, oopsies. Okay, I'm going to throw an additional dimensional in between here. So now it's going to be on the same plane, because if it hits the back, which mine is, would need to be 2 levels up because of that sentiment level that's in the in-between. So I'm going to grab an additional dimensional and I'm going to shimmy that in between. And now we've got an even field, or an even plane, if that makes sense. Okay, being as how I did the last, I'm gonna go ahead and throw some Stella on the flowers. I think that would be a beautiful addition to this card. So let's do that. And then I'm gonna bring the other cards back into the view so you can see everything we made tonight. Okay, so that's that. We've got, let's get some stuff out of our way here. Okay, so this was the third card we made. Here is the second card we made, and the first card we made is over here. Anyone have a favorite that they want to call out? I love all of these cards. I honestly don't have a favorite, although it might be this one. I don't have a true favorite, but if I had to pick, it would be the middle one. But I love how they are all so cohesive. Not that you'd really... Okay, so there's an idea. You could complete and gift all the cards, which would be a beautiful gift. Then it really is awesome that they are cohesive together. But like I said, it's not that you necessarily give the same person all 3 of these cards, but it is still very nice that they are cohesive cards. All right, I am going to prep myself for some beautiful alternatives. I say that plurally, but I am actually probably only going to do one alternative. But there is a load of opportunity for alternatives with all of the back sides that we cut off. And I might walk you through a couple ideas in addition to the alternative, because you could absolutely do some of these things that I don't necessarily have time to walk you through, but just kind of foster some ideas in your minds. So I'm going to move all of these pieces out of the way, because in true alternative fashion, I am going to kind of try to make these cards without sacrificing any of the pieces, so that you can make all of the cards in the kit as well as these additional alternatives. That is my favorite thing to do, because I like to be thrifty and I like to kind of inspire you. Favorite was the first with the buffalo on it. Thanks for sharing, Karen. Now, that being said, you do get 3, you have 3 different cards, so 3 different banners, but you get 4 of each of the banners. Now, that is done intentionally so that if you make a mistake, you can restamp. But that does mean you would have an extra of each of these sentiment layers, so keep that in mind as you plan for your alternatives. I'm going to shift these up for a minute so that I have some room to work with. We did use a lot of twine, so I have a feeling we won't have much or any additional twine by the time we're done with the cards in the kits. So that's something to bear in mind. But twine is a relatively common and inexpensive thing to order from the catalog. So that's something that you could for sure bring in on your own. Another thing to keep in mind is the add-on kit would also allow you many opportunities. I'm just gonna open this. I don't know if this is, I don't know what time zone Chris is in. She is in, I think, Ireland now. They hit Ireland up on their way home. So I hope this isn't someone's that I am now breaking into. But basically, you have 6 each of these in color envelopes, which are beautiful. Thanks for sharing, Judy. I agree. They are all very pretty. This one was a hard one for me to pick a true favorite. And then this is so funny to me. So the card bases that they gave for this kit that we, the kit that came had full printed front and backs, and the ones in the add-on kit are just full printed fronts. So that is funny to me. I don't know why I find that funny. So we've got different graphics on the add-on kit. Ooh, but again, all very similarly themed for sure. So very cool. Oh, this one's got a little campfire. Look at that. That is so tiny and so cute. So those are not what we are going to focus on, but I did want to crack those out so that you could see them because they are very cool and a nice add-on option. Where did those envelopes go? Okay, so that was fun. Okay, so now I am going to focus on the pieces that we cut off. I'm not going to make all of them into cards, but that is what I'm going to focus on. And I'm also going to focus on the envelopes because I did say in the start of this that these envelopes are really cool. I love printed envelopes. Well, I say that and I mean kind of probably not what you expected by that. I love when they give printed envelopes, but I hate using printed envelopes because I find that wasteful. Let me explain myself. Handmade cards, I think, especially amongst the crafting community, a lot of times get saved. Sometimes, of course, you will have people who receive a handmade card and do recycle it, and that is a-okay. But I think a lot of times the cards get saved. However, I really struggle with beautiful printed envelopes because, in my opinion, okay, you can hate me for it, but in my opinion, they inevitably are going to end up in the trash or the recycling bin. So all of that beautiful is sacrificed. So I like to get creative with our beautiful envelopes. There's a lot that we can do with it. This basic white there's nothing special or extra about that. This is great to have the opportunity to write your return address and your mailing address on here. But I'm looking at this piece and even potentially using this piece. So again, this part not super whatever because this would basically just be a piece of cardstock that we would be using. I like when it's got the printed elements to it, but totally a-okay. It's this piece in particular that I am loving and looking forward to using. So I'm gonna kind of hang these up here so I have that for inspiration as I'm looking at these pieces. Obviously you can tell which go together naturally, but you could absolutely use whatever you choose here. You really like the card with the canoe. Ah, thank you. That's the one that I kind of am leaning towards as well, I think. Okay, so I think man, I don't know which one I am going to go for. I might end up doing a couple. So let's grab one of each of the envelopes. I am largely an indecisive person. So for someone who is super decisive, I can be sometimes difficult to work with. Because the weight of this decision weighs on me more than the average person, which is so funny. But It is what it is. It is part of me. Okay, so I am going to deconstruct the envelope. You either could cut, but I see that the print bleeds off the edge, so I want to have access to that without sacrificing it by cutting it. So we'll see. This was maybe, yay, a lot of love for the canoe card. That's great. So go ahead and open up your envelope. That was done very poorly, so my bad. Don't rip it open like I just did. I'm going to also bring in my cutter and my mini trimmer. It's right here. Okay, so once you've got it opened, you can start to cut off the extra pieces. So I like to kind of hug this seam and then trim, which I didn't get all of the white off, so I'm going to retrim that. And I'm going to peel this back, this extra white back, so that now I can see the full amount that I'm working with. And then, so I kind of broke the corner here, which was not ideal. So I'm going to Scotch tape that a little bit. A-okay, nothing a piece of tape can't fix. Then I'm going to bring in my paper scissors and follow the design with some fussy cutting, which I know is everybody's favorite. I'm kidding. I used to have a much higher tolerance for fussy cutting, and then I don't know. I don't know if it's when I started to get way more like stressed and busy with work and life, or if it was the kids or what, but fussy cutting is not my favorite anymore. Obviously I can still do it, and I really need to like coach myself into slowing down and doing a good job of it. But there's my full disclosure moment. Okay, so guessing we're probably seeing where this is going. Although I will say this is going to be way more than we need because, well, yes, we have the bleed from the envelopes, but we also are dealing with vertical cards, and of course these are horizontal envelopes, so we are not going to need all of this. Okay, so this scenery goes with this card. Are we seeing it? I love it. Another vote for the canoe card. Woohoo! We got a lot of love for the canoe card. That's awesome. Unfortunately, the back side of the canoe card does not have a canoe on it, but that's A-okay. Okay, looking at this, so part of the reason that I didn't like love this part was because fussy cutting around those trees would not be super easy just because of the fact. So here, you'd think I would have learned the first time. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so, but I don't think I'm going to actually need to cut around these trees because the vertical card ends kind of thereabout-ish. So I'm going to start by cutting this way. So I have a question for everyone watching along. Has anyone ever made any of the alternatives that I have made or suggested on any of my lives? Just curious, like totally no shame if you don't. I don't care. I'm just curious. Because I really enjoy making the alternatives. And like I said, I'm very thrifty and crafty. So it's fun for me. Okay, oh, and I forgot to trim this before I started cutting. I just got too excited. Oopsies. Okay. Obviously, this one goes with this one. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, and last but certainly not least, we've got the mountains. So let's open this card, or excuse me, open this envelope. I feel like my brain is not with it today. I started a blistering headache, and then my husband was actually home this afternoon, or today, while I worked from home. So he helped kind of massage my tension points, which was so helpful. And I thought I mitigated it, but it is coming back. So I am feeling the mental fog first and foremost, but also I'm really struggling to think through this headache that is setting in. But we're doing it. We're getting it. Let's trim this bottom off. I have found myself addicted to caffeine. Not like truly addicted to caffeine, but like I'll get the caffeine headaches when I don't drink a soda. And I'm struggling because I prefer the sugar soda, but I know just how bad the sugar in soda is for you. So I try like not to drink soda, and then when I don't drink soda, I get these caffeine headaches, and it just kills me. So I need to become more okay with like the zero sugar soda or the diet sodas, but oh, it's a struggle. My husband so easily switched to Mountain Dew's zero sugar. That is what he drinks exclusively. And he also enjoys coffee. I don't like the taste or the smell of coffee. I have found myself to enjoy a chai latte, but now with how hot it is, it's really difficult to convince myself that a chai latte is the right thing to do. So, and in all honesty, what I really need to do is get back into drinking more water, because I am very dehydrated, which is not healthy. So, the good thing is I know what I should be doing. I just need to do it now. All right, we're just about through fussy cutting here. All right, so I don't know. Dare we actually do several alternatives? We'll see. Okay. Now, the next thing that I'm thinking as these alternatives are coming to life is, okay, so I think I want to get some vellum. Oh no! I love vellum. I have been with card making long enough for vellum to be the amazing in thing and then fall out of fashion and come back into fashion. So I am so happy that vellum has quote unquote made a comeback, because I have always loved vellum. I'm happy to be crafting with it more consistently again. Okay, I don't know that this is the best suggestion, but for ease of use, I think I'm going to make white card bases. So, you know, again, all of these would be beautiful on their corresponding colors. You know, I say it and then I might have some regrets here. So we'll start with one. You guys, the indecision is like real tonight. So we're gonna do 5.5 by 4 1/4. For sure doing basic white over here, because I don't have much of an option. My other option is boho blue, which would be beautiful, except for I don't have it physically within reach. Looking good. I'm glad you like it, Hildy. So I might have second guessed myself and talked myself into doing Mossy Meadow for that one. And now we've got the outlier of our bison card. Now, Wild Wheat is the in color that I don't have access to at this exact moment, although I don't think Wild Wheat would be the right one for this one. So I might actually bring in the Daffodil Delight here. You guys, am I crazy? I'm doing so many alternatives. It's good. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like the inspiration. All right, so Daffodil Delight looks delightful over here. So let's go ahead and do it. See, I talked myself in and out of basic white, except for the one that was a necessity. This is a bright and cheerful card for sure. Another fun color over here would have been the Copper Clay. That would have really brought out the bison. Now again, though, I am going to do these. Ooh. Nope, I think I'm going to do them full bleed, right up to the edges. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so we're going to start by gluing. Okay, get it nice and square on your card base. And then give it a couple seconds to dry before we move on. Of course, if you use a tape runner or glue dots or tear and tape, would be a great option here. You don't necessarily need to do that because you don't have that drying time. I am so excited about this. I love this idea. Okay. Also, I'm a fan of a very good deal. So the ability to get literally twice as many cards out of this already good deal of a kit is just so exciting to me. All right, the birds are chirping in a frenzy outside. Spring has definitely sprung and summer is like shortly there behind. Although we've already had Memorial Day weekend, so some would argue that summer is amongst us. Okay, so now the hard part with vellum has always been and will always be adhering it. I have been short-sighted on this venture to make these cards, and I haven't necessarily thought through the logistics of where the sentiment's gonna go and all that good stuff. So I don't have access to heat embossing down here. All of the embossing stuff is upstairs. If I need to run upstairs, I absolutely will, because I know where it is, but if I don't have to, I'm not going to. So we'll see what we come up with. What I'm somewhat envisioning is, because I love the dimension that this envelope piece gives, so I'm going to dimensionalize this, but I want it to be further quote-unquote dimensionalized from the card base by putting some vellum in between it. And I think I'm going to go with a thick mat. And then I think I'm going to stamp the image straight on the vellum and kind of go that way. Now obviously I can use adhesive beneath the envelope piece. It's just the upper regions that will be for sure shown. But it is what it is. That is the downside of working with vellum, is having to work around the adhesive. So, okay, so now, the age-old question, what size should our mat be? So 5.5, 5 would give a quarter on each. I'm going to start by 5 by 3 3/4. So we'll see what we think of that. We can always trim it down. We can't add it back on. So, and I'm going to do it the same for all of them. Three and 3/4. So if that is what we like, we'll make one more. Although I honestly think I might trim it down even a little more. So let's go. I'm just going to start with the mountain one as an example. Okay, well that's not bad. For kicks and giggles, I'm going to cut an additional 1/4 inch off just on one. I can always decide that I liked it better before and wished I would have done it. Actually, I do have enough that this last one could just be lost for the cause. Okay. So, what do we think of the thicker mat here? Oh, my personal preference is this is the winner. So we're going to go like this, and we're going to throw this down there. I'm loving it. So let me bring this up to you. So what do we think about that? I just love how the vellum furthers the dimension by softening it and really helping with the levels. So that's going to be that. I'm also going to trim this one down. So now we're at 4 3/4 by 3.5 for our final size here. And I will cut one more before I move on. Okay. Oh no, I made a square. You guys, did I tell you my brain's not feeling quite right today? All right. And no one stopped me. Just kidding. I know there's a delay. Okay, so we need 3.5. Oh, that is silly. By 5, 3, 4 3/4. Well, that one was the quote-unquote lost for a cause. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, so this one, I am going to use this section, which doesn't give me, near as much height. So this one's going to be maybe a little more plain. The trees would be very pretty, but then we're going to run into how to trim around that, which is not the biggest issue, but we're going to start cutting these off on the edge. Don't want to do that. So let's bring the cutter in. I'm going to take the flat portion up and then just trim at the score line. And now we've got 4 1/4, which is going to bring us right at that tree line. All right, so now I'm going to first glue straight. Oh no, I'm not gonna glue yet because I want to stamp before I glue. Pro tip. Okay, again, I'm gonna flush cut on the score line. And then 4 1/4 here gets me right about there. And then I'm gonna cut here. Now you don't have to go on the score lines. You have a lot of play here because we have more width than we do width of the card. So if you wanted the more mountainous, the higher peaks, actually I probably should have looked at that. These two are the ones that you have more play. You know, you could cut it more here and have more of the low. The bison one was a little more challenging. So we've either got, so some of those peaks would bleed into the background peaks, absolutely not an issue. Or you pull it over this way, you get a little bit more of the water, and I do like that. So I am gonna stick with my initial thought of going here-ish. Both great options. Okay, now I think I can move that tool out of my way. Okay, so now I need to figure out what we're saying on these cards. So let's bring our stamps down. For this one, I think I want to stamp up here-ish. Your sentiment can either be driven by your needs, so like happy birthday or cheers to another adventure, or by the amount of space you want to fill. Life is meant for good friends and great adventures. That one fits really nice. So obviously right now I'm making a card just for card making's sake, not necessarily driven by a need, but I really like how this life is meant for good friends and great adventures. Now, when I'm looking at it though, I am thinking, okay, this is really somewhat unbalanced because I'm stamping it up there due to the lightness of what's behind it, and I really shove it up into that upper left-hand corner because of that. So I'm probably going to go with happy birthday, and then I would stamp that on the inside because now it seems a little more weighted because it's not so shoved up into the top corner. I don't know. I might regret it. Who knows? So I'm going to bring in the, if anyone truly knows if it's better to stamp in Memento versus Stays on vellum in particular, shoot a comment, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna just go with, okay, so that does fit there. And I'm gonna go grab my Memento and hope that that was the right choice. Okay. I've got 2 more cards to do, so if I made the wrong choice, I'll do it right on the next one. Okay, so roughly have it that my block is going to be flush on the top. So, because now I'm pulling it away and hoping that I get it back kind of where I want it or need it. Okay, inking up my stamp. Viewing my beautiful hair as I stamp it down, hopefully straight. This is vellum, so I'm gonna let it sit and quote unquote marinade for a little bit. It's beautiful. I love it. I'm gonna cover up my stamp pad so that I don't have an accident. Okay, now that I've stamped, I'm going to glue down the bottom portion. Now, vellum is a persnickety character. We don't want to touch that until it's dry, which could take a little bit of time. If you have a heat gun is a great way to stick it down or to dry it out, but that does also kind of warp the paper. So always options, but sometimes not not a perfect option. Okay, so I kind of just laid my mountain in there to get an idea of where I have to deal with. So I'm going to stick it straight across the bottom. And then I have some additional height to deal with over here, which the more glue that you can get behind the concealed portions of vellum, the better. So I'm going to do that. So I didn't really pay attention to how perfectly centered that was, but I did a pretty dang good job. Yes. Okay, a Google search, thank you Cindy, says to use a dye-based ink on vellum might take a little longer to dry. So you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to pick up on this, but you can see some of that shininess. You can't really see it. But some of that shininess to the ink, it is still visibly wet, although it is more dry already than it was when I started. So it does not dry quickly, but that's okay. I'm willing to sacrifice. So while that is all kind of layering out and drying, I am going to find my dimensionals and start to stick down the envelope piece. So, gonna throw several dimensionals on here. As the glue is drying, you're starting to see that this is why we try to be cautious with where we glue, because that is quite visible. And I see here my glue kind of bled out past the mountains, but not super noticeable. But man, I am loving the look we're getting here. So now, this is very pretty, but kind of plain. I am gonna go get some embellishments, and I will be right back. Okay, so I grabbed all of the embellishment cases, but I think I found my love right off the bat. So I think I'm gonna end up using these gray, just because they really feel like they match the theme that we've got going on here. It's pretty, I don't wanna say it's natural, it's rustic. You love this pumpkin. I agree, Millie. I am like so jonesing for it right now. So strategically, I want to try to place an embellishment up top-ish. So either I could do the two corners up here. I'm going to try that. I don't know that I'm going to like it or love it, but we'll see. Also, this is not the right color. The gray of the pebbled path is much more, has a much more yellow undertone. But you know what? It's not horrible. Okay, so then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in my glue dots, and I'm gonna put a glue dot directly behind where the embellishment is. Now, I wish I had the four corners down here to really frame it. I am not like totally disappointed about it, but also usually we try to embellish in odd amounts, so I'm gonna try to find somewhere else to put one more embellishment, but I'm not quite sure yet. So I'm gonna sneak that exactly behind where the embellishment is and try to sneak off the paper backing. Okay, great. And then I'm going to place it directly down. Now, those are completely concealed adhesives, and this one is stuck very well. Sometimes when you send or receive a vellum card, it is very noticeable that you tried to be discreet with your adhesives. This one's gonna be pretty simple. I'm a little disappointed in kind of having gooped out the glue down here. You can really see that. That's a little bit of a bummer, but you guys can do it better. You can have learned from my mistake. And I'm gonna, I think, leave it at this. If I put another embellishment on, I think it's gonna kind of detract from what I did there. If you've got any ideas, throw them my way, but I think I'm leaving it at this. Pretty plain, but I hope you like it. Okay, so that's alternative 1. Let's move on to alternative 2 over here. Okay, so now, what we're gonna say. So, we've got a little heavier of detail in the foreground up here, so I think I'm gonna stamp over here-ish. There's not a great place of lightness to stamp onto. It's gonna be okay, but I think it would ideally have been on a lighter color, but that's okay. And I think I'm gonna go with maybe Cheers to Another Adventure. I love photopolymer stamps because it gives me the opportunity to kind of think through some of these things real time as I kind of lay it over the top. Okay, so have not stamped this one yet, so I'm just going to grab something here and get the sticky clickiness out. So it doesn't really make sense any particular place based on the layout in the background or kind of any of the details that we're dealing with. So I think I am going to just kind of somewhat off-center it, just to somewhat balance the heavier texture in the foreground. I'm gonna kind of step away from it and see. You know, it's not bad. I could otherwise put it more just here-ish, which actually I think I might do. So now I'm gonna pull the card base out from under it, bring in my memento pad, and kind of just visualize where that is. Obviously, when I bring my stamp back in, oh boy, that's a great idea, Cindy. Put a compass or binoculars where the little glue kind of seeped out. It's a really great suggestion. Okay, Cheers to Another Adventure. Feel like I had it just a smidge lower on the card before I pulled the card out from beneath it, but that is a-okay. Okay. Oh, and then I laid it right on top. Whoopsies. Can you tell my brain is not functioning at full throttle? Okay, so again, I'm going to start bottom and go up just a smidge due to that corner, except for I did that completely backwards because we have to flip it. So we're going to start at the bottom here, nice and thin, and then draw up just a little bit over here. Now, if I was a little thinner with the coverage of the glue, that might help with some of the seepage. I don't know exactly how much space I have to deal with here, but a bit. Now lay it down matted, completely centered vertically and horizontally. And then I like to kind of just seep the glue out. Not a ton, I don't want it to spread a ton, but I actually do have a bunch of room to play with here. So I'm gonna push some of that glue up because again, every place that's concealed that you can put some adhesive and get some nice strong hold just helps when it comes to the integrity of this card. Okay, same thing here. Oh, that worked out pretty good. I would have maybe moved it down just a smidge, but not too bad. Okay, we're gonna go Memento might smear on vellum. Thanks for that tip, Hildy. We are just gonna hope it dries halfway decent. I could also bring in, this is just black, so we could use Stays On. Would be a great option. Just don't know where the Stays On cleaner is. Actually, I might have just spotted it, but so this is just to inspire you all to create some beautiful alternatives. So if there is a better idea, oh, I love this. I love how the background and foreground just merge together here. Very cool. So if you do ever create any of these alternatives and think that the Stays On would be a better stamp pad option, absolutely go ahead and use that. Okay, so now here I can either choose to do the same thing, which actually I don't think is a bad idea because we've got the very defined matte. It's not like this is a very organic shape or something different. So I think I'm gonna just choose to do the same embellishment pattern here. We could go black if we wanted to highlight the, sorry, you can't see that really, to highlight the stamp, or we could do gray again to kind of tie into the mountains and the stones. So I think honestly, I think I'm gonna go with the black. It really is bold. We're gonna go bold. I would wonder if Chris had any idea. Thank you guys so much for the love that I'm getting for these alternatives. I wonder if Chris would have an idea or a suggestion about where to put that third embellishment, or maybe even 3 additional embellishments, because 3 + 2 is 5, which is still odd. I'm keeping it simple. I'm just gonna stick with the 2 because I like the kind of architecture that we're going with for that. I'm gonna use that as a kind of prop to keep the layers. I'm sorry, there's really nothing that I can do to help you guys see what I'm doing here, but I'm basically just propping up the card on my take your pick tool to separate the vellum from the card base. Let's see if I can. So that's kind of separating the vellum from the card base so I can throw that glue dot in there. Now, reversely, and on the last one, what I could do is put the vellum down first with the glue dot and then put the dimensional on top of it. Now, wouldn't that just be some smart thinking? Oh, I think the 2 look fine. Thanks, Cindy. I'm glad to hear it. Okay, so on this one, I will maybe bring in just a hair of the Stella because we've got these beautiful flowers again. Didn't do Stella on the last card because the water was in the background and I don't want to really draw any more attention to the background because we're trying to flood out the background with the vellum. So plain Jane on that one. This one's got a little something extra. Okay, and here, so now I just flipped my vellum because the vellum had a natural curl to it. Let's see here. And I don't want to fight anything any additional tension with the adhesive, so I'm just going to flip it over so that it curls more naturally in the way that I want the glue to stick to it. Thanks for joining, Melanie. I think you will enjoy the replay. We are on our last alternative, as in we did 3 alternatives this time, all exactly the same theme and concept, so not really like any extra alternatives, but I'm really, really, really loving them. Okay, so now here again, we've got that thinner of the scene in the foreground with the buffaloes. So I'm gonna have to be a lot more careful with my gluing. And then let's see here. Either I'm gonna go happy birthday in this area, which would stand out very nicely on the yellow. And I think I can feel, this is gonna be a little challenging, but I think I can kind of go around that buffalo. So I'm leaning more towards the right. There really isn't a reason to other than the yellow. The buffalo, you could say, could offset it, but then we've also got the river here that could be an offset, but I like the happy birthday because it's nice and skinny. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with. Thank you guys so much for all of the love. I'm glad that you guys are really digging the alternatives that we got going on. Okay, so because of the tight space that I'm trying to work around this buffalo, I'm actually going to cautiously keep my card together and just stamp right over so that I know exactly where I'm hitting. Again, beauty of the photopolymer, but exactly where I'm hitting around that buffalo. I am going to move this guy though, so I can hold this down. So basically, and you'll see this in just a second, I'm trying to put the H above the buffalo and the descender of the first P right in front of the buffalo. Oh, it's so beautiful. And it's so perfect. Thank you so much for sharing and liking, Melanie. Okay, I'm going to clean off the last stamp for our last alternative. I do have one more idea to share with you in terms of an alternative, but I'm not going to make any more alternatives. My apologies. But I saw something in someone else's alternative that inspired me. I honestly thought I might have gone that way, but I'll explain why in a minute, why I chose to do these instead. I was very inspired by this based on what I was kind of digging through. I love the idea that we are exploring here with the envelopes. Okay, so firstly, I am going to throw a thin band of glue along the bottom. If you don't like the seeping and are kind of worried about it because of the thin nature of the strip that we have going on over there, totally use tear and tape. If it's thin enough, it might be. If it's not, that is something we could have used for the other cards. And then as advised earlier, I'm going to throw my glue dots on before sticking it down. What a noble concept. I think I'm going to move that one though, because I think it's a little too inward. Now again, these are going to be completely hidden. I can kind of work on moving the embellishment around. Oh my God, you guys. Okay, so I didn't wait for my stamped image to dry. So that was that suggestion that I had. I didn't wait for it to dry before I flipped it over for my adhesives. So I got a little smudge on the Y in birthday, and of course all of my nails are so long I can't really watch myself do this. For fear of making it worse, not better, I'm just going to leave it. It's just a little smudgy, a little heartbreak in my voice here. Okay, I'm gonna try just a smidge of the adhesive eraser, which actually is working really well here. Holy man, but hold your breath because you've got a small little corner you're dealing with. crisis semi-averted. Okay, and we're going to clean up just a little bit because we are nearing the end here. And I'm giving it just another minute or two to dry before I make any more smudges. Basically is what I'm trying to say here. All right, we are doing it. I am so excited about how these are turning out. Wow, I love it so much. Still got a little shine to it, so I'm gonna give it a couple more seconds here as I put a few more things away. Now I do still have these small colored pieces from the envelope flaps. Didn't end up using them. Didn't know if I would or wouldn't, but I did not end up using them. You absolutely can hang on to them for future use or go ahead and recycle at this point if that is what you choose to do. You know, there are so many other ways that you could do. Please, if anyone chooses to make any of these types of alternatives, share. I would love to see what you come up with. Okay, so this time I don't think I'm going to do the black. I'm happy with the black that I chose there, but that previous card, which I'll bring back into the view in just a second here, tended darker. Because of the yellow, this tends lighter. Oh, okay, so I might do the vanilla. I'm not sold on it, but it's what I'm going to go with. I don't think it's going to be bad either way. Oh, it actually looks really nice. There's also white in these classic matte dots. I hope they weren't pulled out because they were retired. Maybe that's why they were pulled out. Hi, Deb. Thank you so much for tuning in. I think you will really enjoy the replay. We're just about finished here, so that will be coming up pretty soon. But yeah, these were kind of pulled aside, so they might be retired. So my sincere apologies, as I now have used them on all of the alternative cards. Oh, I do need one more round of dimensionals here. Okay, just gonna throw this then in the foreground. You know, I don't know, clearly they didn't design the envelopes with this in mind for me. The buffalo on this side would have balanced the other buffalo really nicely. Of course, they aren't there, which is totally fine. But I do like the river off on this side, so very cool. I'm very happy with how these alternatives turned out. Very simple, very basic, but I do like them. If I would have stamped or glued a little differently, I think I would have maybe pulled it up just a hair. Is very tight on that buffalo right there. I can bring this higher up into your view. And we do have a little bit more yellow in the headroom up there. So I probably would have moved that up just a smidge, but all in all, pretty good. So let's bring all three of our alternatives into view here. Now, we shared, oh, I have my camera kind of crooked. You guys, I am so sorry. That has been crooked all night. My sincere apologies on that. I'm not going to change it now, but sorry about that. All right, of the alternatives, do we have any preferences or any favorites? And let's bring our original cards back into play here. Let's see here. We've got alternatives on the top. All three are exactly the same. And then we have our original cards on the bottom here. So now this is what you could get out of the kit. So 3 of each of all of these could be gotten out of this one paper pumpkin kit. Can you believe that? I'm so in love. All right, tell me how you're thinking. I'd love to hear. Or I should say, tell me how you're feeling, or tell me what you're thinking. I'm going to keep picking up just a little bit so that I get my head around where we're going next, which is some giveaways, so stay tuned. Sorry, I hope you can hear me. My mouth is talking away from the camera here. Look at that, my phone is back to fully charged. Oh, YouTube, there we go. Oh, so I kind of got away. Love all the alternatives. Thank you so much, Deb. I really appreciate that. Trying to find the live. Okay, well, I'm not left-handed, as you can probably tell. Was just gonna try to see. I like the canoe best, so that's this one. Thanks for sharing, Melanie. Okay. I was just gonna try to see how many people were still on with us, but that is a-okay. All right. Oh, I wanted to share a couple other inspirations that I saw in seeking alternatives. So here are the supplies that we have left. And here is that add-on kit. Love the use of the vellum. Thanks so much, Judy. I tend to agree. I'm quite a fan. Okay, so another I had seen for an alternative was using any of these beautiful backgrounds. And this stamp here, which is Coffee with Friends, which is in the new annual catalog. Stamping that, then fussy cutting around it and putting that off in the corner. Probably not this one because it is strictly left aligned. It would go in a left corner and that would pretty well cover up the canoe. Maybe you'd see a little tail of it, but it could work. But over in this corner, any of these left corners would be a really cool alternatives. The first two alternatives win for me. That is awesome. I love it. Thanks for sharing, Hildy. I've seen a bunch of other great alternatives. One more idea. One second. One more idea to share with you as I just put it all away. So I told you I would tell you why I didn't choose this alternative, and it probably, if you've watched me for any number of times on my paper pumpkins, you maybe could have guessed this, but this full card, now you know that I couldn't even spare any of them in the card bases that we originally made. I cut them. If you didn't cut them, you could fold it inversely on the score. And I'm not even going to do it because I just can't bring myself to spare two full cards by making one card instead. But if you fold it backwards on the score and then score in the midpoint here, which would be 2 3/4. Wait, 4 and no, that was wrong. Don't do that. 4 1/4 divided by 2 is 2 1/8. So if you score here at 2 1/8 and then fold this back, you have a Z fold card that then would open like this, which is admittedly so beautiful. I agree, it's beautiful. I can't do it. I'm too conservative with my supplies to sacrifice that much beautiful imagery. But man, if you have someone who is very nature inspired or very special, or if you are not like me and you don't mind just like sacrificing all of that beauty for one beautiful card, that Z-fold style card would be absolutely beautiful with these card bases. Okay. There was my soapbox, but let's go back down to the cards. Keep sharing your feedback or thoughts or ideas with me if you so please. And I am going to bring up my computer here. Let's see if I still have it up. Oh, yep, 81%, that's great. I just need 1 second. I need to get the list of, ooh, cold, mystery shares, and then I also need to find where Chris shared with me. Sorry, I am a little unprepared in this here. Also, my computer is not agreeing with me. talks amongst the class. So, why did it shut down? So, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I really appreciate everyone being here tonight. It was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed. I hope my kit creation was easy to follow along and fun, and I hope you enjoyed my alternatives and that they inspired you. We are going to May Mystery Night Clues, Personalized Stamps, Collage. She sent it to me. Maybe it was on Facebook. So as she's been gone, we've been communicating in several different places. Okay, so here's one. So thank you to everyone who created along with me tonight. We have Linnea Bertram, Chris Duderenke, Pat Dufank, Cindy Entringer, Barb Freund, Kat Frontek, Katie Garbish, Marge Haas, Brenda Crudwig, Carmen Melendez, Diana Muldoon, Pam Newhauser, Angela Orvis, Cheryl Pittman, Jolene Schrei, Tracy Seller, Jean Vasil, and Sue Volz have all subscribed to Paper Pumpkin through Cards by Christine. And as a thank you, we are going to pick an attendance prize winner. Well, you need not be present, as in attendance, to win, but thank you for subscribing through us. So let's get our random number generator. And I have them on the screen over here, 1 through 18, in the order in which I said them off. So let's go like this. I'll get them here for you. Oh my goodness gracious. Larger than life. Okay, 1 through 18, generate number 3, Pat Dufank. Oh my gosh, I struggled to say it the first time and now I had to say it again. Sorry. And I think I said Pat. It's Pam. Right here. It's Pam Dufek. And I will let Chris know that you are our lucky winner. And we are also going to go, oh my goodness, how does this touch screen all work? To this screen. Okay. Apparently you can't zoom that way. But our mystery shares from Mystery Card Night last Thursday, we had 31 shares. We do one for every 20, so we will do 2 winners tonight. So 31. The first winner is number 9, who is Karen Goddard. And our second winner is number 18, which is Laura Johnson. So congratulations to all the winners. I will document them all so that Chris can get some prizes headed your way. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I hope you had a wonderful time. I sure did. And please share if you create an alternative based on the alternative I made or any of the suggestions or ideas that I shared with you today. We would love to see it. And I hope you have a wonderful Thursday night and into the weekend. And we look forward to crafting again with you soon.